Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with another video. I didn't intend on making a video today, but then a certain someone, the lady, if you want to call her that, on the screen just had to, I won't say run her mouth because it's Twitter, but she just had to tweet and I had to see it. If you are familiar with my older content, you'll know that I am not a fan of Miss Anita Sarkeesian. And I actually will be posting this video both to YouTube and to Rumble, assuming Rumble uploads. In part because Anita, in my opinion, unjustly attacked and went after a YouTube content creator who I used to follow. And while me and that content creator, and I'll get to that later, don't exactly interact or speak much anymore online for reasons I will explain later, I will not, sit by and basically watch a liar like Anita um, insult this person, right? Regardless of whatever my personal feelings about our personal fallout are, I'm not going to sit by and watch this charlatan uh, smear someone's good name just because, Anita Sarkeesian is a charlatan, right? And a grifter of the highest order. But anyway, let's get into it. As always, I hope everyone is doing well. So this is kind of something that just happened, which is why I'm making the video. So this is going to be done in two parts, right? First part is the ninja tweets, right? So let's get the first thing out in the open. Anita Sarkeesian, in my personal opinion, is a coward. And you've no doubt noticed that's what I named the video. I will get to and explain why I feel she's a coward. But as you can see, she's blocked me. She blocked me actually very early in my tenure on Twitter. And this was around the time, this was November. I joined Twitter in November of last year. So this was around the time when Mandalorian Season 2 was airing, and she had tried to uh, basically, in my opinion, start beef where it didn't need to be by complaining about Mandalorian boob armor, right? So, in that conversation, which was happening at that time, and especially given her and her history with video games, I tweeted this at her. From the woman who straight up lied about video games. And of course, she ended up blocking me. Now you might say, Gene, well, that's unfair. You pretty much attacked her, and yeah, I'll grant you that. Yeah, this is certainly an attack. I'm not gonna lie, that's true. I'm also not lying when I say that she straight up lied about video games. Anybody who's familiar with Tropes v. Women or Gamergate or anything knows that she lied about video games and made disingenuous argument after disingenuous argument after disingenuous argument. In my opinion, Anita is the real life, real world version of that reporter in Mass Effect who just keeps making antagonizing false statements toward Commander Shepard, right? So believe me, I'm happy to be blocked by Anita. I wear it as a badge of honor. Anita Sarkeesian is one of those people where if they block me, I'm like, oh, that means I must have said something right if this person blocked me. So I personally am honored that Anita blocked me. Out of all the things she's ever said or done, the one thing that actually benefits me personally is being blocked by her. Now, let's get into the bad faith tweets she was sending out about Ninja. Apparently, he's in the news again because apparently some fans have been attacking people and whatnot. So here are some of the tweets she put out. Right, she says here, we need to talk about the relationship between fans and influencers slash streamers. A lot of y'all claim that an influencer has no control over their fans and cannot be held responsible for what their fans do. This is inaccurate. Granted, these are probably the same people who claim that media has no influence on us, so I don't know why I'm bothering, but here goes. No, Ninja is not responsible for every single action of every single fan, but he is responsible for creating an environment that encourages sexist attitudes, especially knowing how prevalent and damaging online harassment is. He and anyone with a significant following do not get to simply throw their hands up and say, well, I didn't directly tell them to harass anyone, and therefore I am not responsible. Influencers influence. They shape the attitudes around them for better or worse. So to me, it sounds like what she's talking about, generally speaking, is leadership and setting a certain tone, setting a certain culture if you are a person of influence and or authority. And believe it or not, and I hate the fact that I have to say this, but I do believe in a very general sense, in the principle of what she's saying. She is correct, believe it or not. Now, again, I do think that she's making a bad faith argument against Ninja, but I do think with the principle of what she's talking about, she's absolutely correct. It is on a person of authority, a person of influence, such as a parent, a teacher, a coach, politicians, right? People who you would designate leaders to set a certain example, right? And I do agree with that. For example, I'm not perfect, but I do try to set a certain example with my own channel. Well, now, of course, I'm not as big as, say, Anita, and I'm a drop in the bucket compared to even smaller creators, but I do believe it is my responsibility as a content creator to basically display the type of behavior that I generally expect from people in my audience. If you're familiar with my older content, you'll know that every once in a while I will sort of go over the ground rules of the channel, which is basically don't be a jerk, right? I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care if you disagree with others. All I ask is that you be respectful in your disagreement and, no trolling, right? Fortunately, it's been very few and infrequent, but I have had trolls, had insulting people uh, in my videos, and I've gone in and said, hey, I don't tolerate that. I don't like that. If you continue, I will block you, or I'll do whatever I have to do. I block, report, delete, whatever it is, right? And I would usually give a person 3 chances to, shape up. And if they don't, then I do exactly what I say, and then I'll put a tweet, not a tweet, wrong platform. I'll put a pinned comment in the YouTube section, in the YouTube comment section, going, hey, because of this person's actions, they've been blocked or removed or whatever it is. And then usually next video, I'll address the action that I took, right? So I actually do agree in general with the principle of when you are a person, at least of influence, not necessarily of authority, but a person of, well, yeah, and authority, because having authority also comes with influence, right? But you don't need to be like, the head honcho or, big name to practice this, right? But I do believe in setting a tone, setting a standard, and letting it be known what you expect from people interacting with you, right? At the same time, at the same time, right? She is correct, and I hate to say that again, when she says that Ninja's not responsible for every single action of every single fan. He's not, right? Same way, for example, we have laws against various actions, right? Theft, murder, rape, small things, big things, right? And there are generally understood set laws and, rules about these things, and there are consequences. But as we know in the world, despite all of the rules and regulations and consequences for these type of actions and many, many, many more, guess what? Crime still exists, right? So I look at this in the same way. Yes, you can set rules and regs, and you can set expectations, and you can have penalties for when those regulations and rules are violated. But the fact of the matter is that you're always going to have people who act outside of how you wish. Ask any parent with with rather what goes on with their kids, right? Parents, teachers, right? Anybody interacting with young people know you can set rules and consequences, but you're always going to have a few kids right? Who just want to just break those rules or, test the limits or whatever it is. So there's only so much you can do. And I'm of the opinion that so long as the expectations, rules, regs, penalties, whatever they are, right, were reasonable in nature, that you cannot, or at least should not, hold I guess you could say, rule maker or standard bearer, standard maker, responsible for what others do, right? Just like anything else. Like I said, we have crime in the world, unfortunately. There are rules and regulations and penalties against these things, but they still happen, right? There's only so much you can do about that. Rules and regulations and expectations serve as deterrents to negative behavior. They cannot completely eliminate it. And so, as in law, right, in public safety and society, so is the internet. I can tell people all day long, hey, don't contact this person, don't dox them, don't do this, don't do that, right? I can tell them, hey, if I hear that you've done this or done that, I'll delete your comment or whatever it is, right? I can do that. And guess what? A person listening to me can go, yeah, whatever, do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. So that's the other side of it. So, yeah, like most things, it's a balance. And I hate to admit it, but I do believe in a very general sense that she's right here. Ninja's not responsible for every instance of bad behavior, but you do, in my opinion, have to set a certain standard for how you want your audience to behave, at least when they're in your space, right? You can't help what other people do in other spaces, right? For example, I can't help what my fellow coworkers do, off the job, right? I may have a say in how they behave, say, when they come to my office at work, right? Or how they interact with me, but what they do in another person's office or what they do off the clock is up to them. It's got nothing to do with me. I can't police that, right? So that's basically it. Now, again, I do believe that while what she says in principle is correct, that she's making a bad faith argument because, again, this is Anita Sarkeesian. She couldn't be honest about anything. And she doesn't give any examples in these tweets of what exactly Ninja did or hasn't done to make, I guess, his environment more, I guess she says here, less sexist or whatever it is. And speaking of Ninja, because this is going to come up because people regularly bring this up against him, while I personally do not agree with Ninja's no stream with women position, I also respect the fact that it's his platform, his marriage he has to worry about, and ultimately his decision. Do I think I would make the same decision if I was in his shoes, if I had a husband uh, to worry about? No. I think I would take my husband's feelings into consideration, so perhaps I would change the way I behave around men, right? Male gamers or streamers, if my husband had an issue with it, right? But I don't think that I would not stream with guys, especially given that I'm a tomboy. I naturally feel more at ease around men in the male space. But again, whatever my personal disagreement with Ninja's position, I still respect the fact that ultimately it's his life, right? It's his marriage. He has to go home to his wife, right? Or I guess in this case, working from home, right? Turn around in his computer chair and face his wife and deal with her and deal with their family. And if he believes that the best way to prevent people from making up stories or getting the wrong impression about his interactions with other women, other female streamers, is to just not have those interactions, then that's his choice. A choice I disagree with, but still, his choice. And from what I've seen of Anita and others, these type of critiques against him are less about, hey, I personally disagree with his position on this, and more of, they're more or less, in my opinion, trying to bully him into opening up his space so they could eventually take it over, same way they did with video games, right? So there's that. Now, let's go to part 2 of this video. Lyanna K, right? Lyanna Kersner, who has a channel on YouTube and who has a Twitter account like most people do, especially, YouTube personalities, right? If you're not familiar with Lyanna, she makes video game content, social commentary, nerd commentary stuff, long form videos, which in my opinion are very good. Very good. I think she's a very good content creator. She and I don't always see eye to eye, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I was a subscriber to her YouTube channel for years, and I was a subscriber for a long time for a reason. She's a very thoughtful individual, very knowledgeable about video games. She actually is a sex positive second wave feminist who also happens to be a gamer. She's basically what Anita said Anita herself was, that Lyanna is what people thought they were getting when Anita did her tropes v women thing. At least that's my personal opinion on it. Lyanna may or may not agree, I don't know. But that's the way I see it. Like, that Lyanna is basically what Anita should have been. And actually, Lyanna's done what? She's done 2 projects now. She did Lady Bits, and she's doing another one, sadly. The name escapes me, but there are links in her YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I haven't watched in a few months, so I forget the name of the project. But from what I remember seeing of it, it was damn good. Very funny and informative, right? Boss Fight, that's what it's called. It's called Boss Fight, right? So I definitely recommend her content. Whatever our personal beef or differences, I firmly recommend Lyanna's content. It's just personal beef, or at least on my end. Be between us, but that should not that's not gonna change my opinion about her work, right? But anyway, so Lyanna tweets this to Anita. She says, and you see Anita's tweet at the bottom. It says, "He," referring to Ninja, "and anyone with a significant following do not get to simply throw their hands up and say, well, I didn't directly tell them to harass anyone, and therefore I am not responsible." So Lyanna, I guess this would be a quote tweet, quote tweets Anita. I saw this from another account because I'm blocked from Anita, and I don't follow Lyanna anymore. So this is basically in my feed, and that's how I got this, right? So it says, "I guess this is an apology for the years of harassment I've received from FemFrec, meaning feminist frequency, fans. I accept. Now, please get them to stop." So I take this as basically Lyanna saying, hey, you're talking about Ninja needs to step up and be a leader. You step up and be a leader, which I think is a totally appropriate response. I've seen in real time the harassment that Lyanna received from some of Anita's followers during the height of Gamergate and all that stuff in Tropes v Women several years ago, because Lyanna did not agree with what Anita was saying. She made several videos critiquing Anita and whatnot. And yeah, she got a lot of, in my opinion, largely unfair, what's what I'm looking for? Blowback for that. So yeah, I would totally agree with this quote tweet here, because I saw it happen in real time at that time. Many of Anita's I guess you could say followers or supporters were not about having conversations or hearing different points of view. They were looking to agitate, and they were looking for a fight. I engaged with many of them, not just on Lyanna's channel, but on other people's channels, because of course, the whole SJW versus anti-SJW thing was the huge thing several years ago, right? So yeah, I witnessed this. So I think Lyanna is completely right in what she says here. So this is what happens. Lyanna ends up, I guess, quote tweeting again, and says, in case she deletes it, her tropes are now just name calling. Harassment is wrong no matter who gets it. And Sarkeesian just proved she's okay with harassment towards the right people. Never mind the BS she had to make up to justify it. So here's Anita's tweet. And you can see here at the bottom, which is obviously the Lyanna's tweet that I just showed earlier, right? She's scratched, she's blacked out. I guess the term would be redacted Lyanna's name, right? Some would say that's to protect so people don't go and search you out. People can easily find you online. That doesn't really help, but whatever. It says Anita, I guess, quote tweets. She writes, "I am absolutely floored by this tweet. This person," of course meaning Lyanna K, so she's not even woman enough to actually mention her name, right? "Directly fanned the flames of Gamergate's misogyny by playing the cool chick okay with sexism, and has profited off of positioning herself as, well, basically not me, a woman in games who tells men that loving sexism is a-okay. Number one, Lyanna has always spoken out against sexism, and she has pointed out sexist elements of certain tropes or ideas, right? She, like Anita, looks through things from a feminist lens, and I've been in Lyanna's comments and watched her videos for years, and I've had many ideological disagreements with Lyanna, in particular on the subject of objectification, right? But here's the thing. Lyanna is a second-wave feminist, and she's sex-positive. Anita, I don't know which wave she's a part of. There's several waves to feminism, but she's obviously very sex-negative, right? And as you can see here, this is how she responds when another feminist, right, who simply happens to see sexism and tropes in video games and all these stuff differently than her, right? How she responds, right? Blaming her for Gamergate's misogyny. Anita, you started this. You started this, you coward. Okay? You are the one who made bad faith, disingenuous arguments about everything in video games and tropes and women, from the damsel in distress to the female heroine to everything. I watched all of your stinking videos. Okay, you lied time and time and time again. You know how I know that? Because I played the majority of the games you talked about. Miss, I'm going to misrepresent the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 and present her as a bimbo. Don't start. Woman, do not start. You fanned the flames of Gamergate's misogyny by positioning yourself as a victim. You played the victim card time and time and time again. You made statements that you knew damn good and well, because for all of my disdain of you, I don't believe for a second you are a dumb woman, Anita. You made inflammatory statements knowing damn good and well that gamers are very emotional, reactive people. And knowing that the gamer base is majority male, you knew it would get under their skin, they would get pissed off. That's exactly what happened, and then you played the damsel in distress. All the meaty gamer boys are coming after me. It's Gamergate. They can't stand a woman with an opinion. BS. Then why does Lyanna exist if men cannot stand women with opinions? You lied time and time again, and you're lying now. This whole playing the cool chick okay with sexism. You mean a pick-me girl. Just say it, Anita. You mean a pick-me girl. And Lyanna was never that. Whatever my personal feelings about the woman now, she was never that. She has contested various people, including myself, various ideas. She's not a pick-me girl. She's a woman with her own damned opinion, and you can't stand that because you think that all feminists must think alike. You want a hive mind and she thinks for herself. Anyway, as I said here, right, tweeting at Lyanna K and I don't always agree. That being said, she has never excused or justified sexism, as she caught hell during Gamergate because she was firmly in the middle. That Anita Sarkeesian would insult her shows how weak Anita is. Also, unblock me, Anita, you coward. Now, I want to give some very brief background on what I mean when I say that Lyanna K and I don't always agree. I actually haven't watched or been a part of her channel for probably since November, and the reason is, I'm going to keep this very brief, and if you are someone who's in her channel, especially if you remember or remember seeing me all the time and then suddenly I dropped off and you've been wondering why, I know some people who watch my videos regularly came from her channel where I was constantly in the comments. But to make a long story short, Lyanna and I got into a bit of a beef, got into a bit of an argument in November over a tweet she made about Jordan Peterson that I felt was in very poor taste. We went back and forth. We basically ended up unfollowing each other. She unfollowed me, I unfollowed her, and then I just decided to just keep my distance, and so I stopped watching her YouTube content, right? Now, please, if you are someone who's regularly in her, what would you call it, her videos or her comment section or her Twitter or whatever, please don't go running back and going, Gene said this, Gene said that, what happened? I don't want to talk about it. I doubt she wants to talk about something from November, several months later. For me, it's over, it's done with, right? I'd rather just keep my distance personally. I'm not in the mood to talk about it or discuss it, right? For me, it's old hat. I just mention it to explain what I mean when I say I don't always agree and to explain why I haven't been uh, in the comment section of those videos for a while now, right? So for those who are part of her, I guess you could say, channel or audience, hey, you're welcome here. Happy to see you, happy to have you. Just please don't go running back to her saying, oh, Gene said this. Gene's not in the mood to talk about it. Okay? It is what it is. I think that she and I should just keep our distance. I'm much more comfortable with it that way, right? So, moving on, right? As I said, for all of my personal feelings about her, right, personal grievances or whatnot, Lyanna never excused or justified sexism in anything. She actually vehemently calls it out when she sees it, right? And she caught hell in Gamergate because she dared to be a neutral party, right? She dared to point out and see the errors on both sides, and she basically, for a time, got persona non grata for it. She's talked numerous times about basically how her games journalism career working for like Polygon and Kotaku and whatnot, those type of websites came to an end during Gamergate because she wouldn't pick a side, more or less. So again, Anita's a coward to basically, in my opinion, smear her name, right? Because she doesn't agree with her. And part of the reason I'm making this is because Lyanna and I don't exactly get along anymore. Because I firmly believe in the phrase that while I may disagree with what you say, or in my case with her, I may disagree with the things you've said to me, but I will, to the death, I will defend your right to speak to the death. Lyanna has every right to express her opinions, and Anita does not have a right to smear her name. Now, Anita wants to critique her, that's fine. Anita wants to, give a opposite or opposing view, that's fine. That's okay. But to smear her and to make baseless accusations, especially when it's Anita who is the grifter here, right? Who is the liar who played on people's emotions and played on Gamergate and all that. No. I'm not gonna sit by and watch that happen and not speak up. I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, Lyanna goes on to say, and she's correct again, you're not against harassment unless you're against harassment against even people you don't agree with. Spot on. There is no loophole to this. I oppose the harassment of plenty of people I profoundly disagree with. Gina Carano just this week, right? And then Lyanna goes on to say, I know it's hard to read, so I'll read it. But I gotta stand up for Ninja on this one. Again, second time this week. Someone with a huge following can't control 100% of that following. You can make it clear you don't condone the behavior, but you can't stop the biggest losers who watch your content from acting like losers. And as you can see, Michael Rodriguez at the bottom says you are absolutely right. And she is. She's absolutely correct, and that's what I said earlier. There's only so much you can say and do when it comes to other people's behavior. You can influence them, but you cannot control what they do or say. As the saying goes, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Right? And then, I know this is really small. I should have worked better on screen capping this. I apologize. But this was my final tweet on the matter. Right? If Anita Sarkeesian, right, Anita S, is going to talk about setting standards of behavior for a large fan base, then she needs to look in the mirror first. Attacking Lyanna K for her tweet isn't how a leader deals with disagreement. Blocking me isn't how a leader deals with critique. It's the coward's way. And in my opinion, that is the Lord's honest truth. Anita can talk tough because it's literally all she has. She isn't a tough person. She can't actually deal with women like me or women like Lyanna or other people, male or female, who critique her and who call her out on her BS time and time and time again. So she hides behind a block button. So she hides behind baseless assertions. I can't believe that this person just said this about me. Oh, please, Anita. Please, stop with the whole, oh, I'm so oppressed act. Okay? You're not oppressed. If you were oppressed, right, you wouldn't have gone to the freaking UN. If you were oppressed, you wouldn't have been on Stephen Colbert. Okay? You are one of the most privileged people around, and you gained that privilege by lying about an entire subset of people and making them look bad in the public eye because you'd rather play damsel while you call out the whole damsel in distress trope. You'd rather play damsel than actually be honest, which is that you're not a gamer, you don't care about issues in gaming, you don't care about the gamer space, you don't care about women like me who've been gaming since I was freaking 4 years old. You don't care about people like Lyanna. You don't care about feminism. You don't care about women. You care about yourself. And you will spread any lie that you have to, any untruth, any misinformation that you have to get by, because you are a grifter. You are a parasite. Anything you attach yourself to withers and dies. And people, it took a hell of a long time, but people began to finally see you for what you are, and that's why you damn near got laughed off the internet when you want to come out and go, oh, Mandalorian boob armor is sexist. Please, woman, go grow a conscience, right? Pray for forgiveness. Do something else with your time and with your life, but dear God, stop talking about things you have no knowledge of. Because you sure as hell don't know a thing about video games or video gamers or people like me, women who actually have been part of gaming, who have been part of gamer culture, who have watched gamer culture grow and change. You are one of the major contributors to why gaming is so damn toxic these days, because while your star faded, your influence sadly did not. And we're still feeling your influence to this frickin' day. So I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy, you smug little witch. And if you got something to say to me, because I don't think you actually have the guts, you don't have the ovaries to actually speak to me, my comment section is open on my videos. My Twitter is open and available. You're not blocked. I didn't block you because I can take a hit. I can take criticism. You got something to me. If you ever find the guts to speak to me, woman, tweet me. Find me. I ain't hard to find. Okay? You want to talk, we can talk. You want to fight, we can fight. I can do both of those very well. You don't end up working with attorneys without being able to make an argument. So you want to have a conversation, you want to have a debate, I am right here. But you will lose. You will lose. But anyway, I don't think she has the guts for it. Because, see, Anita's a coward. And cowards very, very, very rarely ever step up to the plate and look the people who disagree with them or don't like them in the eyes and accept the challenge. But the challenge is out there. Should she ever suddenly find a spine? I think she threw out her spine with her morals, but you never know. She might get them back. Hey, people change. But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day or night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Bye.